Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a new curfew for kids. What's being done to keep the peace at one local mall.
Plus, a condo complex damaged beyond repair. As officials start the demolition process, hear from families now left without a home.
And new information coming in about that chance for snow Friday night into Saturday. Timing and accumulations coming up.
And raising the alarm tonight for childcare workers. The additional funding they're calling for on the steps of the Connecticut Capitol.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Tonight, we start with a message to parents. Good evening. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here at 10. Big changes coming to the Connecticut Post Mall in Milford.
The mall is requiring children under the age of 18 to have an adult 21 years or older with them starting this weekend. Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner talked with people about this program and joins us live in Milford with more. DeAndrea.
Hi, you guys. Well, you know, for the longest time, the mall has been a place for teenagers to come and hang out with their friends on the weekend. But starting this weekend here at Connecticut Post Mall, there are going to be some new procedures in place for everyone under the age of 18. And some folks that we spoke with today say they think this is a really good thing with the amount of disturbances that have been happening here. But others say they think that this should be reconsidered. When you walk into the doors of the Connecticut Post Mall in Milford, you'll be greeted with a curfew sign for kids. Come Saturday, those under 18 shopping on Saturdays before 4 p.m. must leave or be joined by a parent or guardian 21 years or older at the curfew cutoff time.
It's a good idea because the mall went downhill a lot with this new generation.
Connecticut Post Mall released a statement saying, quote, "We strive to provide a safe and enjoyable shopping experience for our guests, and given the recent increase in large groups of unsupervised youth congregating within the center on Saturday evenings, activating the Parental Escort Policy, or PEP, was the appropriate response to prevent further disturbance."
A lot of the problems, all the fights that were breaking out here for a while, I even stopped coming here for food or anything because of all the fights. Like, I felt unsafe even walking around here.
The mall's policy says that if the age of a youth, parent, or legal guardian is in question, the person will be asked for their ID. Shanique Beckford says this could negatively impact working parents.
It's going to be a bit convenient for working parents, especially parents that works after certain hours. Some parents work overnight, which, it's going to be a problem.
But she understands safety concerns.
Yeah, safety. Yeah, definitely number one priority.
Javanis Quiles says there's another solution to prevent further disturbances.
Is at least add more security or something. There could be different measurements to go about the situation.
But despite the reinstated policy, there might be a bigger problem at hand that needs to be addressed.
I feel like even with the crimes, if they can't get in, who's to say that they're not going to hang out outside and cause trouble? It's all in willpower. If a person wants to do something, they're going to do it. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it.
And another thing within that policy, it says the adult can accompany up to 4 children max, and that the adult has to stay with the children at all times. For now in Milford, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, DeAndrea, thank you. We are following some breaking news out of Manchester tonight where a car flipped over on the highway. The crash happened on I-8 384 westbound right between exits 2 and 3. That has closed the left and the center lanes tonight. That's according to the DOT. We'll provide updates as soon as we learn more about it.
Well, now to a Fox 61 follow-up tonight. A large fire in Naugatuck has left 20 people without a place to live. The building they once called home has been demolished after being deemed structurally unsound. Fox 61's Gabby Molina live in Naugatuck right now with the very latest. So, Gabby, what can you tell us?
Well, Jen, sadly, this is all that is left of that 7-unit building here on Lantern Park Drive. Crews were here demolishing it earlier. They deemed, like you mentioned, that it was structurally unsafe and they had to tear it down. Meanwhile, firefighters were putting out hot spots. And while it is a really, really tough scene to look at all of this damage and all of this debris, the good news tonight is that everyone is okay. Wreckage and debris, all that is left of 20 people's homes in Naugatuck.
It feels a big loss for the home and everything, but on the positive side, nobody's injured. that's a big relief.
Everyone in the condo complex on Lantern Park Drive made it out unharmed after a fire broke out Wednesday morning.
When you're living in a condo in an apartment complex, anything can happen.
Moments that were terrifying even for those who lived in nearby buildings, who didn't know if it was their own homes that were on fire.
Cloud of smoke just pushed through, and I had to leave everything and run out my back door because my front door is where the fire was. So it was very scary.
My family members, they heard this one lady, trying to help us out. She said that, come out of the door, there's fire. There was a strong winds also. The smokes were coming in waves.
By the evening, firefighters made the decision to tear down the burned building for the safety of the other residents of the complex.
We're hitting hot spots as they're demoing, so we had a lot of hidden fire in the building in those void spaces. So that's another reason for the demolition and aids us in opening up those void spaces.
From here, it will be a long road ahead for the 12 adults and 9 children who lost everything. The Red Cross is helping connect them with resources and finding them a safe place to stay. But over everything else, they are all safe. Pets and all.
Relief. It was, we all were clapping and praising Naugatuck's finest, because they do a really good job.
Demolition crews will be back out here tomorrow morning cleaning up some of this debris. Now, when the fire was happening, there was a dog inside of one of the units. She was stuck in there for almost an hour while the building was burning. I spoke to her owner tonight. I got an update on how that dog is doing. She did make it out safely. I'll have more on that coming up on the news at 11. Live in Naugatuck, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Gabby, thank you. We'll see you back here next hour. Meanwhile, let's get to the weather watch here. A sunny but pretty windy day out there.
Yeah, how will the rest of the week shape up? We want to get a first check of the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be very similar to today, which is very similar to yesterday. Mix of sun and clouds, breezy conditions, but we're slowly dialing down the wind, and we're keeping a close eye on Friday night into Saturday. We've been talking about this system for the last several days, kind of wondering how big the impact would be for us around here. But we're finally getting a better focus, a better idea of how this will be. And it looks like the storm will be too far south to bring us any significant impacts or high impact from the system. But we are expecting some light snow starting Friday night and continuing into early Saturday morning, which we'll talk more about in just a little bit, but some minor accumulation is possible. Here's a look at the wind. Guess what? It's still breezy out there. Gusts up around 20 miles per hour. And while the wind, again, does dial back a little bit tomorrow compared to where we were for the last couple of days, you still notice it out there. Temperatures are in the 30s to right around 40 degrees. And as we head through the evening tonight, no weather issues. Overnight lows dipping back into the 20s to right around 30. Heading through the day tomorrow, once again, that mix of sun and clouds, high temperatures in the mid, even some upper 40s, and a little bit of that breeze. We'll time out that snow for you, let you know what it means as we head into the Hartford St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, new at 10, 2 New Haven firefighters were hit on I-91 yesterday while helping the victims of another crash. This happened just after 11 last night near exit 6 in New Haven. State police say the firefighters were on the highway responding to a crash when a black BMW driven by 22-year-old Wilton Ketter of West Haven sideswiped a tractor trailer, according to police, and then spun out, hitting the fire truck that both firefighters were in. Those firefighters, were told, were taken to the hospital to check for injuries, but there's no word tonight on their condition. Ketter was also taken to the hospital and later arrested for multiple charges, including carrying a pistol without a permit.
Following new details tonight in a fatal hit and run out of Stonington. Police now say that they've located the car that they believe struck and killed 70-year-old Gary Piver late Monday night. The car, a dark gray Toyota SUV, was found at a home in Stonington. Police have still not identified a suspect. Piver was a custodian at Stonington Public Schools and was riding a bike on South Broad Street when he was hit. In a statement, the superintendent of Stonington Schools says in part, quote, he would ride his bike to work every day, no matter the weather conditions, and never missed a day in his 17 years of service. Gary was an integral part of our district and will be dearly missed. They went on to call Gary a gentle giant who was kind and compassionate. To Waterbury tonight, where a man is in critical condition after being hit by a driver who police say didn't stop. All of this happened just before 6:30 Wednesday night at the intersection of Meriden and Pierpont Road. There's no information about the suspect or the car involved as of tonight.
And staying in Waterbury, new details about a fatal domestic violence shooting that happened there. Police saying the suspect in that shooting was found dead in Virginia. Solomon Roberts was located during a traffic stop conducted by Virginia State Police. They say he was found dead in his car from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Solomon is accused of shooting and killing his wife, Catherine Roberts, and injuring their 19-year-old son. At last check, the son was in stable condition.
To Hamden, where police have made an arrest in a fatal pedestrian hit and run that happened back in August. Javon Ladson turned himself into police yesterday. He's accused of hitting 36-year-old David Welch on Dixwell Avenue on August 2nd. Welch was later pronounced dead. Ladson is now facing multiple charges, including negligent homicide. He's being held on $75,000 bond. The News at 10 just getting started. A one-of-a-kind program right here in Connecticut getting shut down after never truly recovering from the pandemic. Now, proponents of the program are taking to the Capitol to voice why they say it should be funded.
Plus, the Federal Trade Commission setting its sights on layoffs at Twitter. We're going to tell you what caught the commission's attention and why it's been working closely with the company for over a decade.
And hard to believe it's been 3 years since the first COVID-19 case came to Connecticut. We're looking back on just how badly the pandemic impacted health care centers here in our state.